we need to do to find the missing side is just make it a proportion, put it over 1. So you cross multiply. And every time you cross multiply and you have something on the denominator, keep the denominator first, so it's going to be 10. And then is sine of 32 goes next. 1 times x, that is x. And then let's put this into the calculator. In the calculator, if you turn on the calculator, you have 3 functions, okay? And the functions are sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so here you go. This is sine, this is cosine, and this is tangent. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to put 10 sine. And now something that is very important is that the calculator is in degree mode. How do we check that? Okay, go ahead and go to mode, where it says mode. Check that the calculator, please, is in degrees. If it's not in degrees, go down and change it to degrees, please, and press enter. Okay, so change that to degrees. Once it's in degrees, then quit from there and continue here. So it's 10 sine of 32.
You have to close parentheses.
No, you don't have to. And so the measurement is what?
5.3. Or another 5.3.
5.3. Because when you run into the hundredths place, that 9 has another 9, so it becomes a 3 on the 2, right? So it's 5.3. So here x equals 5.3.
You did it wrong.
Okay, one more time. Maybe you missed the part where you have to go to the mode and change radians to degrees and then press enter. Okay, and make sure you do that, especially on quizzes and tests, because then everything is going to be wrong. Have I had students having everything wrong? Yes. So be careful, please, okay? Next one. The second one, it says tangent of 55. Okay, let's make it a proportion, put it over 1. Cross multiply. I put the x first.
So this is 10 sin, right? Like,
10 sine of 32. Yes. So this is x. It goes first. Whatever goes on the bottom here, you put that first. And then it's tangent of 55 equals 1 times 9, which is 9. I want the x by itself, so what do I do?
Parentheses.
It's being multiplied by tangent of 55, right? So what's the opposite of multiplying by tangent? So you divide. So you divide by tangent of 55, both sides. Because it's being multiplied by tangent of 55. I'm dividing by tangent of 55. Then that crosses out. And then just put that into the calculator. Go ahead and put 9 divided by tangent 55.
So you spell.
6.3.
That is right. What's it?
You explain that one more time.
On this one, all you gotta do is, since this is cross multiplication, this is multiplying, so I need to get rid of this. Is multiplied by tangent of 55, so I divide by tangent of 55. And then just put this into the calculator. And then when you put it, did you say, Gabi, that it was 6.3? That is right, 6.3. Yes, okay. Now you try the last one. Go ahead and find cosine of 10 equals x over 2. Yes, the answer is 2 cosine of 10, and it's just 1.97. Please never, ever, ever run anything to the tens place. Not at all to the whole place, just wholes. At least sophomores need to reduce or simplify to the hundreds place. And it's even better if you do to the thousands place. But nothing less than hundreds place, please. Okay? The more decimals that you have, the more accurate of an answer that you'll have. So be careful with that, okay? Good point. Next, On the next problem, it says how to create trigonometric equations. Okay, now the problem is given, the picture is given. I have to come up with the equation. No problem. I go back and I set up, I say, well, the angle given is 43. X would be adjacent. And the 15 is the hypotenuse. Okay, so I have an A and I have an H. Think about SOHCAHTOA. Which in the acronym of the trig functions has A and H? Cosine, right? So it's going to be cosine. By following the SOHCAHTOA, that's going to tell you which property to use. And the letters that you have on the picture are the letters that you need to remember from SOHCAHTOA. And the first letter is the one that you're going to use, which is cosine. So cosine of the angle theta, it's 43. So I'm going to put that angle, 43. Cosine of 43 equals, what is it? What goes first? X, because X is the cosine, the adjacent, so it's X over what? The 15, which is the hypotenuse. Okay, and then just cross multiply, make it a proportion. So X is going to be, what do I write first? Really? No. I write what first? You always want to put this first, because then you make mistakes, so be careful with that. So first put 15 and then put cosine of 43. Just be careful with that. Okay, so what is in the calculator 15 cosine of 43? That is right, 10.97. So the length of that adjacent side is 10.97. That's it. Questions about that? So far so good. Go ahead and try the second problem, please. Sine is right. That is right. Sine is opposite of the hypotenuse, right? Sure. Continue. We're using sine because when you label the triangle, you get the angle. From the angle, across from the angle is the opposite side. And across from the right angle is the hypotenuse. So given are the opposite and the hypotenuse. And from the acronym, O and H is sine. Got it? Okay, so what was the equation that you have for this problem? Okay, let's start from the beginning. Is sine of 64 degrees equals the opposite, which is 22 over x. We make it a proportion. Then you write x sine of 64 equals 22, and then divide both sides by sine of 64, and then just put that into the calculator, right? So put 22 divided by sine of 64, and how much is that? 24.48, and that's the answer. You put in the calculator 22 divided this here. So it's 22 divided by, what is it? Sine of 64. And that gives you that, 24.48. Okay. Any questions on setting up the ratios or finding missing sides? So SOHCAHTOA is used for angles that are not 30, 60, 90, 45, 40, 90. Okay, so when it's not a special angle, triangle, then you use SOHCAHTOA. Any questions about any of these problems?
I'm still confused.
On what? On what?
How you, like,
Does
which
it
one you
depend
know
where the
is
angles at, right? Like, do standing cross, 'cause
So we're still confused as to what numbers to use. If you follow the first label your triangle, that's step number one. Once you label it, the letters that appear are the letters that you need to look for on the SOHCAHTOA. So if you have like A and H, you're going to be using cosine. If you have O and H, then you're going to be using sine.
Okay, but like for the second one,
This one
like there's 64 and 22.
Uh-huh.
So 64.
is the angle, is theta.
But when it goes straight down, right?
You're going to have sine or cosine or tangent of that angle
Okay.
equals, and then you follow this. Opposite, 22. hypotenuse x, and then just cross multiply.
So 64 is going down, right?
64 goes with the trig function, with sine, with cosine, or with tangent.
Because it's the theta.
Is the theta, is the angle. So the angle goes with the trig function all the time, okay? So now you have a second worksheet. Okay, so first, step number 1, to describe the method. What do we do?
Label.
Label the triangle. I'm going to put in parentheses. Only on given sides. Okay? Do not label sides they're not given measurements for. Okay? So only the ones that are given with numbers. Second, step number 2.
Find out whether so miss the lights and
Okay, let me go. Okay.
oh,
Find out. Find out what?
whether it's sin or sine, tan, equals.
Whether is sine, cosine, or tangent. And it's hard to write here, okay? So find out whether is sine, cosine, or tangent. Everything okay? Okay. Step 3. You already decided. Oh, it's going to be sine, it's going to be cosine. So then what?
Set up the equation.
Set up the equation. Set up the equation. And 4, cross multiplication. Cross multiply. And 5,
So
use the calculator. But what is important about the calculator?
the degree.
There you go. Use the calculator in degree mode. In degree mode. So it's very important, please. Okay. Any questions about the steps and what to do? So far so good? Okay, now let's go ahead and